Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. I'm into it au bout, as we say in French. Awful weather, just absolutely awful weather. I'm supposed to be playing golf this morning. Instead, I'm here, and you know what? I'm going to enjoy it because the weather is just absolutely not cooperating. We're in the month of June, almost July, and we have cold temperatures, rain. The grass is green, I can tell you that. My sprinkler system hardly goes on anymore, but this is ridiculous. Thank God I'm not growing vegetables because I'm not sure, we need some sun. In any event, I've got a great show for you again. We got some bunch of stuff that came in the Fountain Pen Therapy studios. We've got new things to look at, and we've got plenty of therapy to share with you, so stay tuned. Here is Fountain Pen Therapy's weekly recap for June the 22nd, 2025. Okay, so let's start with the first segment, which is what's new in the market, correct? And we'll start with the Chinese. Not much. Well, in the Chinese pen market, we have the C80, of course, the Asvine C80. We have the Asvine C2000 in the ebonite finish, and we have the Pen BBS 556. Those are your three top-notch pens that are now going like gangbusters. Some of the models or some of the colors and acrylics or resins are going out of stock, etc. So take a look at those, but there's not much else other than that. But what I found interesting is, let me go to my computer, is I've been recently looking into dip pens, and I found that Majon's got a few. You've got a Majon N1 here. Now I don't know if this is glass or plastic. It looks plasticky to me. Sometimes they say glass, but it's not really glass, and sometimes it is. We'll have to check the specifications to make sure it is. So you have this one. Then I have found this kind of parallel pens to do your swatching, which is an alternative. At 1148 might be, you get the whole set, might also be worthy of interest. Another dip pen, I found this one interesting, this little glass pen. It's another Majon offering at about $10. So those are always a lot of fun. Again, I invite you to take a look at AliExpress for notebooks, notepads, paper, notebook covers. Great prices. I've ordered one that's coming in maybe for next week, and we'll see how that works out. But some very interesting offerings there. So that's for the Chinese pen market. Let's go back to my computer. This is a new offering. Now, I've been wondering whether or not this pen is worthwhile. This is the Sheaffer Legacy. At $212, it's a steel nib. It's the brand new Sheaffer Legacy. I don't know if this is going to get, take off Sheaffer once again. I'm not sure why it's not the gold one. Frankly, at 212, I'm not sure it's worth the price, because you can get a used Schaefer at an auction for $200, and you get an 18 karat nib. I have two of them. So let me know if anybody has ordered this steel nib version of the brand new Legacy, whether it's worthwhile. You can get it at $212 at Pen Chalet. It's being sold at $204 at Applebaum. What else have I got for you? Yeah, on Goulet pens, I noticed coming soon this brand new Vanishing Point, which looks interesting. There's this new TWSBI Echo, some new inks there from Colorverse that are coming soon. You got some Sailor King pens, which look gorgeous, but just out of my price range. You got a Mayora, a little expensive at $1,000. But you got some Deltas here at $208. The Neo Gallery, which are interesting, very interesting offerings. Brand new Dunas Delta at $184. You got some new Benus that are coming up. Don't like the colors, but some of you like the lighter colors, might be interested in those. Anything else of interest in Goulet pens? No, that's about, oh, yeah. I mean, to get this new Apricot Pelican Edelstein. So I think I'm going to get it as soon as it's available at a Canadian retailer, just because if I order just this ink from, first of all, I can't order from Goulet. They don't deliver to Montreal. But even Pen Chalet and the others, it's double the price just to get a bottle of ink. It's not worth my while. So I'm waiting for it to get to a Canadian retailer. Then please take a look at Cypress. If you don't know Cypress pens, please take a look at them. Look at this. These are some of the, more elaborate pens, but they've come up with these copper pens for $290 US, but they look really elaborate. Very nice. And you get them all price range. You got this cigar-shaped, very colorful resin for $135. Look at this one in ivory at $135, $135, and then you got some cheaper ones at $79. So you get anything between, take a look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? You got some of the more elaborate Raiden pens here. Very, very nice. You can spend hours on this Cypress site, but you can find anything between $50 US right up to $600, $700. So you get your price point, and you got some very beautiful offerings. So there you have it in terms of what's new. Not a hell of a lot. Not a hell of a lot. I checked Gold Spot, Pen Chalet, Atlas. There's not much there. Really, there's not much there. So there you have it. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, so what's new in the Fountain Pen Therapy Studios? Well, there's a lot of pens that we got recently, Chinese pens, the two Asvines, the Pen BBS, which I've shown you as well, and the Vizier. We'll take a look at those in a few seconds, but they've all come in and I've all reviewed them, so I'm not going to go over them, but we will maybe do some writing with them, okay? Especially with the two Asvines. A lot of questions have been asked, and later on in the show, in some of the Q&A, we'll take a look at those pens again. We'll kind of revisit them as well. So this week is really a week for where I receive some accessories and some notebooks and notebook covers. So let's take a look. We'll go over to my overhead camera and we'll take a look at the first accessory that I have to propose for you. Now, you've seen this before. It's a notebook cover, and I'll put the price and maybe even a thumbnail on, the price on the screen. But I wanted to show you how it came packaged, which I find exceptional for a Chinese offering. Usually it's bubble wrapped and not much more fanfare than that. But take a look. I have the bubble wrap there on top. Then nicely packaged in a nice plastic. Get a kind of a card, a certificate of conformity as they call it. And then it's wrapped up in this nice fleece bag with another, paper covering as well. And there is that notebook. So you've seen this, but I wanted to show you how I've ordered another one just because I thought the price was really worthwhile. Here it is. What's beautiful about this, first of all, I think it's leather. It's cowhide, so it's not it's kind of rigid. Okay, it's not the softest, but it has a very big. I'll give you an example. This is a Jinao X159, which is pretty big, but it fits in really nicely. The elastic band stretches. Accommodations here for some cards if you wish. But what's fun about it is you can either use it as a notepad insert, or a notebook insert, and the whole thing kind of you can close it up with the plastic band, which is really nice. I've got one already filled here, and we're going to find another use for that. Here it is. So as you can see, I've got my notebook there, and I've got a notepad here, and I can put actually two notepads if I wish, and plenty of room for everything. And they're fairly thick there. So I ordered another one. I wanted to show you how it came packaged. Great price, fairly quick delivery as well. It didn't wait too long. I think I got it within a week. So all to say is that shout out for this particular outfit, and I will leave in the description the exact link to it. The next thing that I got this week, and a lot of you have been asking me, where do I get my pen trays? 1 second. Okay. Well, my pen trays, I have two sources for my pen trays. And again, I will put both in the description below. One is outfit or online retailer by the name of Penn State, and the other is Go Pens. I think the ones in Go Pens, let me just open it up for you, offer more colors. So for example, but they're a little more expensive. Penn State delivers it in gray, essentially, but I've heard recently that they've added black. So you get black. It's really the same product from what I can see, except that in Go Pens you can get it in this wonderful green. So I've ordered a few green. You can get it in black. You can get it in red. I've ordered a few red. Or you can get it in blue. Now, with these, I'm good for a while, but take a look at the blue. Isn't that gorgeous? And I'm going to prepare, and burgundy. Okay, here we go, and burgundy. So you see the variety in colors. And these, of course, what I do is I can cut them up, either put them in pen boxes, such as this one. So for example, here's a pen box where I've basically cut out, and it cuts out really nicely. And so I've got pen trays for the pen box. Okay. Or I've also used them to create some trays. So you can get trays like this on Amazon, meant to be, kitchen trays, if you will. But I use them to demonstrate pens, or, if I'm working on a project and I've got a series of pens that I want to, use, and I'll pull it out as kind of more of a laboratory tool than a storing tool per se. But here again, you can get these trays in bigger, smaller, cut them up, and use the pen slots to accommodate that. So I thought I showed you that. So Go Pens, a little more color, but I think it's a little more expensive. I invite you to take a look at the prices and choose whichever one might suit your particular tastes and budget. Okay, so those are the pen trays for this week. What else have I got for you? Oh, yes. Now, I ordered this binder. This is a binder I already have, and I ordered another one in a different color. What I find nice, now this, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this kind of leatherette or kind of fake leather, but it's really smooth. It doesn't scratch up, so it's well stitched, well done. You can close it. It's soft, and it has a binder. The advantage, and it's got some slots here. I think you could, slot in a notebook if you have to, but what I think is useful about this is that I bought a bunch of loose leaf Tomo River paper, Chinese from China, and I use that often for my, or I even use, for example, the pads, the notepads, right? Like this one. You've seen this before, where I do my writing samples for my reviews, and I want to keep track of them. Okay, so what I do typically is I remove them from the notepad, and I've got a puncher, and this is the puncher. Okay, so it accommodates this kind of size, and I punch them. And so, for example, this is my pen BBS number 556, which hasn't been published yet, so I won't show you. Asvine C80, that was my review, and I keep track and the dates. And I've got all my reviews that I've done for this year. These are the Chinese. These are the Indian pens. These are the non, kind of European or American or whatever other country it comes from. So there, and then you've got some of the specialized. For example, I did my favorite slim pen video. I've kept all the, the wettest fine nibs. All these are coming up, by the way. The wettest medium nibs. So I keep track of all the swatches that I use during my videos. And, it's a nice way to keep track. Or you could use it as your very simply, you can insert sheets that can serve as an agenda, to-do list, calendars, whatever. So I found it very, very useful. Now I decided to order another one. This is the way it comes. So nothing special, bubble wrapped from AliExpress. I will put it in the description. Same idea, but I wanted, whoa, is it the other way? Oh, sorry, it's this one. Wanted to show you what it looks like when without anything in it. But there you have it. It's even got a pen sleeve there. And what I'm going to do with this, now how do I remove this? Here we go. What am I going to do with this one? I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this one. I've already prepared, as you've seen in my recaps, I've done a bunch of swatches. And I want to keep those swatches. So here they are. Okay. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep all my swatches in this notebook, or in this binder, if you will. And that way, if I want to refer to a particular color, I can. And I'm going to keep track of which ink I reviewed in which recap with a date, etc. So if I have to refer it to you, I can say, recap June 14th or whatever it is, you'll find that ink there. And these are all my ink swatches. And I figure, why throw these away? There they are. Okay, so that's, the blue will be my ink swatching. And the brown will serve as my writing samples. So there you have it, the three accessories that I purchased this week, and I'll be right back with some other tidbits. Okay, so for this next segment, we'll take a look at some paper that I just got this week. I got to tell you, I got a lot of notebooks this week. It was notebook week. A lot of the orders that have been, in the background, and I've been waiting for quite a bit of time. Some of it came from regular standard U.S. retailers. Others came from all kinds of sources in Europe, etc., all over the world, actually. So I got a bunch of notebooks, and I was going to present them all to you, but it's typical me. I'm so excited. I want to get it all out there. But I think I'm going to do it a little bit at a time and just kind of pace myself. Otherwise, this video is going to be 3 hours long. So I've chosen 3 notebooks from the same brand, and we're going to compare them. So for this particular episode, here they are. Let me go to my overhead camera. I'm excited about these 3 notebooks. I'm really curious to see how they will work out. Okay, here they are. First of all, the notebooks are from, and I want to pronounce this properly, Kukoyo, K-O-K-U-Y-O, Kukoyo. They are the Perpanep, weird names, Perpanep 3. Actually, they're the 3 notebooks, but give you different looks, so to speak. We have the Zara, which is recommended for fountain pens, and this is the way it's described. This original base paper seems to have rough feel, yet allows your pen to move freely across the valleys on its surface with the lightest touch. We've left a degree of surface roughness and given each sheet a firm consistency overall, providing a light, calming feel as you write while allowing you to feel the roughness of the pulp fibers with the tips of your fingers. So this is probably the more textured one of the 3. Then we've got the middle one, which is the Sarah. Now, it's only recommended for ballpoints and gel pens and mechanical pencils. The original base paper has been designed with a focus on texture and writing feel to accommodate a variety of writing instruments, resistant in running and bleed through, and incorporating minuscule bumps and crannies that make it so pleasing to the touch. You'll want to caress it forever. It fosters light, smooth writing motions. So that's number 2. I would say that that's in between. And then number 3 is the Suro, which is recommended for fountain pens. The original base paper is so exceptionally smooth that your pen will, with the slightest touch, as if it were weightless. Recognizing that roughness could interrupt your thoughts by snagging the tip of your pen, we've minimized such irregularities on the paper surface so that you can draw smooth curves and uninterrupted straight lines with a light touch without any need to apply pressure to the tip of your pen. So as you can see, we've got textured one, we've got one that's in between but really not recommended for fountain pens, and then the third one, which is the extra smooth. So I'm looking forward to looking at these 3. Now, they come in with this plastic covering, which I'm going to leave because it gives you kind of a description so you don't forget which is which. You can feel right away that this is textured. Wow, it's got almost little bumps. I don't know if the camera picks that up. Do you see that? You can almost see the texture of this paper. You can actually feel it. They're all grid. So that's that one. Let me feel this one. Yeah, this one is really smooth. I'm wondering how smooth that one's going to be. But there you have it. You don't have those little bumps that's in that one. And this one is even smoother. Wow. Yeah, it's a little thicker, I would say, than this one. Maybe that's why they say one is more recommended for fountain pens than the other. But there they are. They're all 5mm grid. So we're going to set up some writing samples on each of these. So that's the paper that I have to suggest for you this week. Really excited, and we'll get to test it in just a few minutes. Now, in terms of the inks, I wanted to ink 4 of them for you, but I decided that we will do only 3 because I'm going to test 3 notebooks, so that's going to be a little long. So if we had 4 inks, but no worries. We keep going here. We got plenty of time. Again, it's going to be 3 Pen BBS inks. I think these inks are really nice, especially for the price. We have number 227, and if I read my notes correctly, it's got to be kind of a violet blue. Then we have number 114, which should be a red. And then we have number 259, which should be kind of a light teal. So here are the three inks that we're going to propose for this week. We're going to set up our swatching tools and our notebooks, and we'll be right back. Okay, here are the three notebooks. I've identified them. The Zara Zara is the textured one. The Sarah Sarah is the non-fountain pen smooth. And this is the Tsuru Tsuru, which is the smooth for fountain pens. So we'll start with, actually, we will start with number 259, Pen BBS, which is supposed to be kind of a teal. Comes down really light. Well, I like this textured one. It's kind of purposely done to... Okay, so this is the... Let me just get my notes, because I don't want to make a mistake. Okay, so this is the number 259. Yeah, it is 259. It's kind of a light teal. So, and I'm using, by the way, the Kakimori nib. We'll talk about Kakimori nib later on in some of the Q&A. So, Pen BBS 259, kind of a light teal. And I think the ink is quite light, and well, and anyway, on this paper really dries very quickly. Let's see how it reacts here. I mean, this middle one is supposed to be non-fountain pen friendly and supposed to be, I think, medium smooth, but it's much smoother than the Tsuru Tsuru. Tsuru Tsuru, look at that. It really kind of dries up real quick. So this is the textured one. I think I like this one. Pen BBS 259. It's the light teal. Okay. Well, because we got three of them, we're going to kind of speed it up for the other three inks. The next one I have for you is this red. It's number 114, Pen BBS number 114. So let's see how this one does. We'll see if it dries up just as quick as the teal. There we go. So there you have red. Interesting, this paper is really textured. You know, you have some papers that are a little more textures than others. For example, I find that Midori, in my view, is a lot more textured than, you know, a Rhodia or a Clairefontaine, even of a Tomo River. So, okay, so this should be a kind of a light violet. We'll see. This is number 227. Okay, I don't know how light. Seems to be darker than I originally suspected. Maybe when you write with it, you know, it comes down. It's not as light as I thought it would be. It's kind of even dark. I don't think I cleaned this one. Let me just dip it again. Okay. Okay, so there you have it. Interesting. Very interesting. When you do all three at the same time, you can definitely feel the difference. We're going to let all this dry up, and we'll take a look at how the paper is reacted. But this non-fountain pen version here, we'll see if it kind of feathers, but I got a feeling it's probably the best of the three. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with the notebooks. Most of them are pretty well dry. I noticed that the Sarah Sarah is the one that's giving me the most difficulty in terms of drying time. You can see there's still some wet. The inks are fairly straightforward. There is this light violet, I think, is the one that gives you the most shading because it writes a little bit lighter than it swatches, but you can tell that there is some interesting shading there. The red, as you can see in the Sarah Sarah, the non-fountain pen friendly, supposedly, paper, I'm getting the best. I'm even getting a little bit of sheening around the lettering in the Sarah Sarah. Let me just show you that. Maybe we'll put it a little bit closer. So far, it's this one here that I find, I don't know if you can see that, but on the outside of the lettering, I can definitely see some sheening there, or at least shading. In other words, I'm getting a darker version of that teal. I also like the Zara Zara, the one that's fountain pen friendly but rough or textured. In terms of the other side, as you can see, let me just put that in view. Fairly good. I mean, you can hardly see the swatches, and there's really no feather, no see-through there at all. I don't see any feathering on the writing at all. Very nice. The Sarah, I'm curious to see what it looks like on the other side. Ha! That's fountain pen friendly, folks. There you have it. Very interesting, very smooth. We'll see how it writes with an actual fountain pen. And then I have my smooth fountain pen friendly. As you can see, kind of a little bit flat with the light teal. On the other side, it's the one that you see the most see-through. So I'm not sure why they say this is the fountain pen friendly one and the Sarah isn't, because as it turns out, I mean, look, it's the swatching that went through. Let's understand each other. But even in the red, I can see a little bit of see-through there. Not much. They're all fountain pen friendly in my view. We'll actually do some writing on these notebooks with real fountain pens a little bit later on when we do the currently inked sections or the weapons for next week. I've chosen several pens. We're going to ink them up with these inks and we'll test them on real fountain pens. But so there you have the result of the 3 notebooks. By the way, I think they're going for $12 each on jet pens. I will put a reference in my description. So we'll be right back with the next segment. Now, in terms of writing instruments, here's where I'm at. First of all, nice Galen leather accessory, and take a look at this French rule paper. When I want to relax and practice my handwriting, this is the paper I use. Okay, so this is a beautiful pen. I'm still trying to figure out how to line them up. I've got some good instructions from you, the viewers. Apparently, I'm supposed to find that click. I just found one there. Now, I don't know. It doesn't quite get me there perfectly, but certainly better than before. And I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. I'm just going to have to follow. There's one viewer who really explained it really simply, and I just kind of lost that comment in all of my comments. I have to find it and actually save it and then work on it. But having said that, this is just an absolutely gorgeous writing instrument, folks. I don't know what to tell you guys. For the price, I am very, very pleased with this pen. I like the fact that it's nice and light. It's very, very comfortable. And I've ordered another one. So I have the green one, which is a medium. I have this, the green glitter. I have this light blue glitter, which is a 1.1 stub. And I realized through the viewers, said, Vincent, don't forget the extra fine. I realized I don't have an extra fine nib from Asvine, the number 8. So I've ordered the extra fine in the violet blue. And some people have suggested that extra fine number 8 nib has a little bit of bounce to it. So I'm looking forward to receiving it when I do. We'll give it a go and we'll show you what it's all about on this channel. Okay, so that's that's a pen that that's just come in. There's the Asvine C2000, which is a more expensive proposition, obviously. What I like about my stub is that I think the nibs or the tines are not perfectly synchronized. There's a little bit of a scratchy tooth to this pen, but it is, just listen to it. Let me put the microphone closer. It feels like I'm writing with my King of Pens Sailor, and I'm not touching this. I'm really not touching it, and it's the stub, the 1.1. So now, people were saying between this one and this one, well, this is a $30 proposition. This runs you for $80, but you can't compare. I mean, it's got the trimmings, it's got the the hardware here. There's the threading is made out of made out of metal. It's got the clip. It's got ebonite. Beautiful ebonite, by the way. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous. It's some of the best ebonite in my collection. So you can't really compare the two. Okay. I'm not going to show you the Pen BBS because I haven't reviewed it yet. And I don't, spoilers alert. It's probably going to go up next week. So, we're not going to touch the Pen BBS. But I have my own views, my own views about that pen. And stay tuned. I will share them with you this week. The other thing is that I have this pen, which is an Acme pen, which I bought some Schmidt because I heard all kinds of good things about it. These Schmidt ceramic roller 888. I bought it in, that's the broad. And I used it during the week, and I was a little bit disappointed because I wasn't expecting a roller ball to skip on me, but it does. And let me see if it skips on this. But yeah, do you see that? The uneven. It's like it has teeth. I don't know if it's just this refill. I'm gonna have to test the others. But I was a little bit disappointed because it's actually writing much better now. I don't know why, but yeah, there you go. You see how now is it, look, see? It's like thin there. It's like I have to write with the pen a little more. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of my Lamy 2000, and that is not good because I hate my Lamy 2000. I think it's one of the worst pens in my pen collection. For the price, it just doesn't, for me, it just doesn't write. It's got a sweet spot and I can't find it. I have a tendency to turn my nib, and this thing is doing the same thing. So I got really frustrated because I bought a bunch of these refills thinking that that's the way to go. Not happy. I did buy refill for this Lamy. It's a roller ball, and I'll show you what's wrong with this pen in a second, but I just want to test it. This is my first. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, you see, they're unlike the other one. There's no skipping here. Oh, I'm pleased about this. Yeah. Very pleased. Now, what's wrong with this pen? I don't know if you can see it. It sticks. It's sticky all over the place. So what I did is, foolish me, I thought maybe if I just rubbed it with the alcohol pad, and get rid of the stickiness. And then I realized I'm starting to remove some of its coating, but the coating underneath is nice and smooth and it's not sticky. Do any of you have any recommendations? What do I do with this? It's still brand new, and I've got a gray one as well. And it would be a pity if I can't use it because it just sticks all over the place. This is one of the pens that I found in that famous box with all kinds of goodies. And you can see it here. You see it's starting to be, so it's like as if there's glue on it. So I think what I'm going to do is just maybe even pass more alcohol pads on it until I get rid of all that surface. If you guys have any suggestions, am I doing something wrong? Have I completely ruined this pen? Because I really like the feel of it, and now that I know what these Lamy rollerballs write with, or how they write, I would love to be able to salvage. So I have another one that's gray. It's not as sticky, so I'm not going to do anything to it. But this one looks like I've already ruined, so I might as well just go for it. If you have any suggestions, let me know. So that's that. The next thing is that I cheated, folks. And I know you guys are going to scream at me, but I ordered this kind of, I think it's a fake. No, I don't think it is a fake. But because it was a roller ball, and I was expecting to get something similar to my, this one is an imitation, but it's not a fake. It's not a Mont Blanc fake with, with the actual, logo on top. It's a lemon. I think this is the Lemon M5, and I found it to be so comfortable. I don't know if this is going to write. Look at this. I haven't written this in months, and it's still writing. I found it to be very, very comfortable. The nib was a lemon nib. So I figured I would order a roller ball of the same kind, but it's not quite the same thing. I don't know what it is, but this thing weighs a ton. It's very uncomfortable. It's just not giving me the same comfort that the other one is. But there's a roller ball in there somewhere. But take a look how clumsy this thing is. Don't recommend it, by the way. Don't order this pen. It's not. I thought I was going to get a similar writing experience to the Lemon M5, but I'm not. And part of it is because this thing weighs like a ton. But these days I want to vary my roller balls. Rollerball is actually not bad, the actual pen or the refill, but this thing moves. This is garbage. And I think I only paid it a few dollars. You can unscrew it. And there is, you even have a Mont Blanc refill, which is a fake, of course. But, I thought I was going to get the same writing experience. This thing's supposed to turn and get the nib out, but it's so loose. So, it's garbage. Don't order it. It weighs a ton. So it's going to go in kind of another box, with all the other garbage pens that I've ordered over the years. So please don't even touch it. It's going to form part of my resurrected. So I resurrected this Lamy with the new Lamy refill, and I've also resurrected this Faber-Castell pencil. Now, does it work? Oh, it's not coming out. For some reason, my nib is not coming out, but I have to check what's wrong with it. But there you have it. It's a pencil, and it looks like it has soft and hard. So I'm wondering what that's all about. I have to look it up. Wondering if it's different nibs or different leads. I think something's coming out here. Yeah. It's a 09, because I have a tendency to just break the leads of 05 or 07. But this writes very, very nice. So I resurrected another mechanical pencil, if you will, and that's going to go into my weekly weapons along with that Lamy. So there you have it in terms, so nothing really new in terms of, I did want to also mention that I have this Vazier that I've shown you already that I'm going to review, but it really writes beautifully, by the way. And I'm going to compare at one point this Vazier, which is a very, budget pen, along with the C80, the C2000, and that Pen BBS 556, after I review the Pen BBS. But I can tell you that this Vazier, it's a Twilight. Used it all week. Writes really, really nice. And we'll do some comparisons. It's going to be a fun comparing this pen to the Pen BBS 556. So there you have it in terms of writing instruments in the Fountain Pen Therapy studios for this week. And we will be right back. Okay, so for this next segment, it's going to be my currently inked pens and what I have in store for you guys for next week, or for me, for that matter, for next week. Go to my overhead camera and I'll show you what it's all about. First of all, we'll do some writing on these three notebooks that we've just taken a look at. Here are the pens that I had all last week. I dedicated last week to Pen BBS. Why, you would say? Well, the why is because I received the 556, which, by the way, will be reviewed this week. Probably publish the video on Wednesday. So there you have it, the Pen BBS. I'll give you my point of view on this new Pen BBS offering. So there you have it. Those are the pens. Other than this one is it was the roller ball that I used for last week, and the pencil I forgot at work, so I don't have it here, but there was a pencil in there. So let's just see what this gives. Let's take this textured paper. I'm really curious about this, what is it, Zara? Zara. Okay, so now, you know, it was a while since I hadn't written with a Pen BBS nib, and you know what? I got to tell you, there's a lot of offerings now that are even better than these nibs. I must say, this is the 355. Yeah, Pen BBS number 355. It's got that, this one has that fine, but you see it's not consistent. On this paper it's very rough. Let's try on, this is the one that's not supposed to be fountain pen friendly. Let's see what gives here. Got to tell you, I'm not pleased with this nib. I don't know if it could also be the ink. The ink appears to be a very dry one. Actually, why don't we do it this way so that we could write on all three. What does it feel like here? A little bit better. You know what? It's not. It's the nib, I think. It's just not working out for me. This is the 495. Let's try here. Yeah. You know, my conclusion is that I hadn't written with these pens in quite a while. And I got to tell you, nothing's in. I just realized that nothing is in focus here or in view. Not impressed by these Pen BBS nibs. Fairly stiff, not bouncy at all. You know, in the sense that I think others have taken over. I think Mahjong, Wing Sung, Asvine, and Ongdian are giving them. Okay, this one, it doesn't even write. Again, maybe just a horrible choice in the ink. I'm not going to do the 556. I'm going to let you guys take a look at my video instead. Okay, well, this one's doing well. Is it the medium? Yeah, but that's because it's the medium. Let me see what this texture paper writes like. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think if you like, you can see the pen, the ink comes down a lot. Oh, I smudged it there, but the ink comes down a lot more here, thicker than it does in the other two because it is a textured paper. But it's a little bit of ghosting there. In fact, even see-through. Very little here, I would think. Yeah, very little here. And on this so-called non-fountain pen-friendly paper, well, let's do this thicker ink here. Yeah, I don't know why they say this is not. I guess we should try it with a roller ball. because this is meant to be for roller balls and gel pens. Yeah, that's good. Nothing wow about it, but let's take a look at this 500. Does it write? Because I used it quite a bit during the week. Because it has a calligraphy nib. Again, false start there, but and what about here? Again, a little false start. Yeah, I think if you're going to have a good writing experience with these Pen BBS pens, you have to go to the new nibs that they're coming out with, but they're charging quite a premium for it. Let's see this textured. I'm smearing everything. Sorry about that. Wow. Yeah. On this textured paper, the line almost comes down almost like a double broad. So interesting writing experience with the textured Zara. Yeah, so, you know, if you can get a calligraphy nib like this one, which is more of a kind of a architect grind there, nice big tipping, a lot of tipping, then maybe you'll get a better writing experience, you know. But if you fall short of that, this is the medium, which usually is a lot more, but as you can see, it's not giving me, you know, the consistency that I've been so used to. Look at that, it skips. And, you know, they've just been inked a week. So all to say is that I'm really disappointed. I got to tell you, is this another, no, this is another medium nib. This one doesn't even write. It's dried up on me. So wasn't a great week in terms of writing experience. And between you and I ended up using my Asvines. So it's just too bad. Yeah, so I'm quite disappointed now that I've revisited these. I'm having mixed feelings, you know. I guess once I get back into the nibs, you get kind of used to that fine, scratchy, sort of a. And well, you see, the reason why I like this one, sorry, I'm all over the place, but is because this is a lemon nib. So I just wrote with this pen and said, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. The reason being, it's a lemon nib. So you know what? These Pen BBS nibs, at the time, were, next best thing to sliced bread or whatever the expression is. But now, I mean, look at this thing. This thing is a nail. You know, it's not a fun experience at all. I'm sorry, but Pen BBS, if you have to go, you got to go with some of those specialized nibs. Otherwise, and I might very well do that. Maybe replace all of them with other nibs, because the pens themselves are beautiful, and they're variety of filling systems. And we'll take a look at the Pen BBS 556 during the week. So there you have it for the currently inked. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, here are my weapons for next week, so to speak. What I've done is I've gone back to the drawing board and I've got a bunch of Jinhows. I figured this will be the Jinhao week. I've already told you that I'm using this pencil, this Faber-Castell Resurrected Mechanical Pencil, and this Lamy roller ball that I've resurrected with the sticky body that I'm going to try to deal with your help, hopefully. And then the rest is a variety of Jinhao pens that I have, in my collection. It's not my entire collection, but there's quite a few there. And we'll keep writing on these notebooks the Zara I've chosen the textured one and the Tsuros, which is the smooth. They're both the fountain pen friendly offerings. So first one we've got here, nice little pen, you know, the Jinhao, what is it? Not the 9016, but the 9013. That's correct, the 9013. So it's the smaller version of the three, which is the 9019, 9016, and this is the 9013. So let's first on this one. So this one is the Jinhao 9013, and it's got that kind of special nib with the I don't know if they call that the heartbeat nib. Yeah, so even this nib, which is, you know, typical Jinhao, you know, quite a stiff nib, beats some of those Pen BBS nibs now, you know. So, you know, I think Chinese pens have gone to another level since Pen BBS has kind of stopped being active on the market, at least in my view. I haven't seen them making that many offerings in the last couple of years. By the way, that's that red Pen BBS ink. So it writes really nicely. We'll switch. We'll go from one notebook to the other. This is the Jinhao, I guess it's the 80. Which is kind of a Lamy 2000 clone, except it writes better than my Lamy 2000. Very stiff, scratchy, extra fine nib, I think. Is it an extra fine? Yeah. But consistent, you know. In other words, it could be an extra fine, but it writes without it skipping a beat. Okay, so that's the 80. Not a great pen. Wish they would make it a medium. This is the Jinhao. It's in fact the Jinhao 100. It's just a 100 or a Centennial, but in this skeleton model. I had fond memories of this one. In other words, I liked the way this pen wrote. Let's just see. Whoops. One second. Look like there's some crusty. I just inked this pen, but I think I should have washed it. This is the Jinhao 100 skeleton. You know, the iron or the steel, and it has that light violet ink. But I've got a feeling it had probably had some red ink in there previously, because there's a little more red than there is violet there. But that violet ink, by the way, is quick drying, very light. So this is just a straight up Centennial Jinhao with just an ordinary Jinhao nib. Whoop. Centennial 100. I'm not sure how. Except this appears to be a medium nib. It's either that or it was a fine nib that I tweaked. Most of my ordinary Jinhao nibs, I had a tendency to kind of work on them and open up their tines, so that could explain why it's writing much thicker line. Then I have one of my favorite capless pens. This is the Jinhao 10. Is it right? Whoop. Okay. Not bad. You know, I haven't touched this in a while. Yeah, it's having a hard time writing properly. Let me just prime it. I'm not sure I can do that with a capless. But let's see if I work on this textured paper a little bit. A little better. A little too fine for my taste. Oops, here it's coming out now. Again, this is that light violet. And I got a feeling I had some red ink in there somewhere previously. I didn't wash it out, so it's not fair to the pen. This is the 9016 Jinhao, again with that heartbeat nib, and this one's a medium. You could feel the texture on this paper. Let me tell you, boys and girls, really feel it. Let me just see how it writes on this more smooth paper here. Yeah, what a difference. There you go. So these are fun because they have that big converter, you know. Forgot how good these pens are. Is this the 82? This I think is it's the Pro Gear Slim imitation. The Jinhao, and they've come out with all kinds of colors, and so this is the 82. It's got a number 5 steel, and it's a nail. Not at all pleasant. In most of my 82s, I've got a few. I've replaced the nibs with 1.4 stubs, so they're number 5 sized Yowo stub nibs, and they work really nicely. But I did want to show you what the Jinhao looks like. This, of course, is one of their stars, in my view, which is the Jinhao X159. Did I put Capri? I think I put Scribo. Let me just see. Yeah. This is the Jinhao X159 with the number 8 steel nib. And it's got Scribo blue Capri for the ink. Isn't that beautiful ink? I just love that light blue. Let me see how it writes on this textured paper. Not bad. It's fun to write on this paper, gotta tell you. Okay, next. This is a 1935. I got it with the red. Some people have objections to that star and the Chinese patriotism that this pen evokes. But having said that, it's got that sword branded medium number 8 size nib. So this is the I like that red Pen BBS ink. That's what this has right now. Jinhao. This is the 1935 number 8 steel. Is it a medium? Yes, medium. Writes like a fine, though. But I find these number 8 nibs for Jinhao, you kind of push them a little bit and they give you a nice, much thicker line when you do. So there you have my 1935. Why don't we just do this? What else have I got for you here? Here's the 19, the big Dow 1919, and it's got a number 8 size nib, but it's medium. So this is the Jinhao 9019 with that huge converter, and this is the number 8, I should say, steel medium nib, and it has that light violet Pen BBS ink. Quite a bit of shading on that ink. Let's do this side. Fun to write on this paper. And it's got medium. Yeah, going to be some good writers this week. Oh, let's just see how this Lamy. This is the Lamy rollerball. I really like that royal blue ink, though. That's really nice. Very nice. Good signature pen, I think. Very, very nice. Let's see, do I still have some a nib there left? This is the Faber-Castell mechanical pencil. Slips on this paper. Let's see what it does on this one. Yeah. Yeah. Works well. Works well. So there you have it for currently inked, or the weapons for next week. It's going to be the Jinhao week, as they say. And stay tuned. Next week, I've got something else planned for you, which I'm really, really hoping will work. But that will be a surprise for next week, right? That's correct. So that's it for this segment. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll be right back. Okay, some Q&A or comments from last week's videos. One of them was, can you compare that Pen BBS Santorini ink with Konpeki? We will do that right away. So here's Konpeki. And here is Santorini. Both very nice inks. So why don't we identify both? This is the Konpeki. And this is the Santorini. Pen BBS, of course. Very astute question. I think the viewer, and I forget who is it that mentioned that, but I think he's got a point here. He must have seen something I didn't, but we'll wait a second and I'll be right back. But let me tell you, both on Tomoe River, they're pretty close. Okay, so we're back, and I gotta tell you, I mean, it's not completely dry. The Santorini's taking a little bit longer, but man, are they similar. I would almost say to you that they are identical. And Konpeki is a lot more expensive than this Santorini. I'm going to put down in the description if the Santorini actually is still available. That would be, and at what price. In fact, let me take a second. I'm going to tune out and come right back and let you know. Here it is. I found it for you. AliExpress was selling a 15 milliliter bottle for $13. Not worth it. At least this is a 30 milliliter bottle at $18. It's close to the Konpeki. I don't know what Konpeki is going now. Konpeki are 50 milliliters. So I'm not sure whether or not at the end of the day this turns out to be cheaper, but you can do your own digging and see whether or not you can find these Pen BBS inks sold elsewhere. But there you have it. Desk Bandit do have them, and they have several of them, so that's a good resource. I think I'm going to add it in my description. So there you go. Okay, another question that was asked of me was to compare the Folio 017 to our most recent purchase, which is the Asvine C80. Let's take out this blue one here, and we'll do a comparison. We'll remove the snake. Now, they are both clipless pens. I think the Folio is a little more rounded, less cigar-shaped, if you will. Still cigar-shaped, but, the two finials are more rounded than our C80. The C80 is also significantly bigger. Now, the big difference is the nib. When you uncap it, you could see the difference, huge. This Folio is also a nice resin, but it doesn't glitter as much. But, this resin is probably comparable to the other resins that the C80 offers. The big difference is that big, huge, juicy number 8 nib. But the Folio nibs usually write pretty nicely. So let me just cap my C80. So this is the, why doesn't it write? I just inked it. Okay, Folio, yeah, there may have been some dry ink in there. So this is the Folio 017, and I forget the model, blue Danube or something, but it's kind of a blue with some red tint in it. It's got Santorini. I had it handy. Pen BBS ink. These Folio nibs usually are very very performing. They write, nice medium thick line, very smooth. Similar to Kegaloo, not as wet, but very similar. Does it cap? Yes, it caps. If I compare the two, whoops, I just pushed the pen a bit too much. If I cap the C80, still a substantial difference, as you can see. The C80 is just a monster of a pen. I mean, it is very, very big. I'm back. I just checked the price, and believe it or not, this Asvine is going for 27 or 26 US. And the fully one, I've seen about 37 Canadian, which is kind of equivalent, I would say, in terms of price, but you're getting a hell of a lot more in the Asvine, so. But these fully ones you can probably get for cheaper than 37. Just, wait until you get a good price. But there's the answer to that question. Next question. Another question I had was, they were asking me if I can compare the nib section of the T1, the Ongdian T1, with the nib section of this is it M2, I think, right? Yeah, M2. Well, for the viewer, here's the difference. I think the M2 is a little bit thinner. It's got a number 5 size nib. It doesn't have that juicy number 6. We can actually measure with the caliper. Let me just, do I have a battery in here? My battery ran out, but you can actually see the difference. I mean, yeah, it is thinner. In terms of writing experience, this M2, I've got to tell you, is one of the finer. This is the Hongdian M2. It's got a number 5 steel nib. But man, this is what I mean about Pen BBS. They're no longer in the game with their standard nibs. Unfortunately, beautiful pens. I may very well swap all of those Pen BBS nibs with Ongdian nibs, Kegaloo nibs. I mean, the game is somewhere else right now. But stay tuned for my video on the Pen BBS 556. This is the Ongdian, one of my favorite pens because of that nib. T1. This is number 6 steel nib. And as you can see, it just writes beautifully. It's got a little spring to it, Really wet. Very, very nice. One of my I may end up getting the other colors because I think they come in 2 or 3, maybe even 4 colors in terms of that titanium. And this is a titanium pen. This, of course, is not. So there you have the difference for that viewer. Next on my list, I have a question for you guys. One viewer, well, let me just put it up first on the screen. Here it is on the screen. I've been thinking about getting this little, I guess it's a pen that I can, accommodate my Kakamori nib. One of the viewers mentioned that, by the way, that those nibs being sold on AliExpress, even though they may be cheaper, and I'm not sure they're cheaper. You would have to compare the prices. They're going now for, the brass one is going for $34 Canadian. That pen is $44, and if you want it combined, I think it cost me $63. But there was one viewer, and I can't find his comment, mentioned an alternative to this pen holder, if you will, of that nib. And let me show you what I have. I thought I had something. I had this one, which is kind of a huge pencil. I don't know how big the pencil, and I thought it would fit. But when I take my Kakamori nib, it's just too big. It does not, unfortunately, fit in there. But he mentioned that there could be another sort of the same principle that opens up and that can accommodate the Kakamori nib. I was thinking about, I don't know if in school some of the teachers had this for the chalk. You know, they had this pen, they put the chalk in and they could write with it. I know I have one somewhere in the house. I just couldn't find it. That may kind of accommodate the Kakamori nib. But if that viewer is watching, can you just send me the link or send us all a reference? I'd like to be able to accommodate the Kakamori nib, but in a pen-like experience as opposed to this big nib, and save myself $50. That's at least that's a going price on AliExpress. So that's a question for you guys. Thank you. Please get back to me. Another question is whether or not the Asvine nibs, I guess, is there a replacement? I'm not sure what other nib would fit this configuration. I haven't tried it yet. But I've tried to look for just a number 8 size nib because, as I mentioned earlier, I did order the extra fine, but I ordered it with a pen. I'm not sure they're out yet. They may be eventually. I think they're going to, get you to buy the pen before they start selling, if they do at all, these number 8 size nibs. Do the Wing Sung fit in there? Do the Jinao fit in there? I haven't tried it, frankly, and all of my pens are now inked. So, but I may in the future try it, and maybe we'll see whether or not those nibs are interchangeable. But hopefully, Asvine will come out with the nibs separately. Okay, one last question. This was fun because it almost gave me a heart attack. A viewer asked me, if you have a choice, would you buy the Asvine C80 or the P139, and here I took out this and I thought it was my P140 because that's the one he asked for. And then I went to look at the P140 and I realized it was a number 6 nib. And I said, I could have sworn that, well, wait a minute, this doesn't. And that's when I realized that I had switched with the C2 or C4. I'd switched caps by mistake. This belongs, the number 8 size nib belongs there, and this belongs here. And make no mistake, it's nice pen, but it's not that one. So back to the comparison. Well, my answer is the following. This Asvine C80 is 27 or 26 Canadian US at the present time. This Majon boy, I chose the wrong ink for this. Majon P139, and again, a number 8 size nib. The 139 is going for anywhere between 40 and 50, I believe I saw. Yeah, it's about $40. Let's say about 40 to $45 Canadian. Okay. And the P140, well, it ranges between, I saw it, what, 40 and 50, and even 60, but you can probably find it for, I would say, anywhere between 40 and 55 Canadian. Now, 26 US, it's at 5, it's about 37 US. Okay. So that's what you're looking at in terms of a difference. So, you know, if you're willing to spend what, $10 or $15 more, my recommendation would be this P140. I just love this P140 because of the, first of all, both of these are piston fillers, okay? They're not converters. They have a clip. They have some hardware. They have some trimmings. I just love the P140. I like it much more than the P139. But if you want to be cheap and efficient, in terms of nibs, I prefer this Asvine. I prefer the Asvine nib. This is the stub. Don't get me wrong; they're good. The Mahjons are good, but I don't know. My recommendation would be to get the Asvine because one, it's cheaper, and two, because of the nib. But if you're a real stickler on looks, this P140 is gorgeous. So there's no right and wrong answer, but that's my point of view. So folks, that's it for Q&A. We'll be right back. Okay, next segment, YouTube review. Well, I got two videos that I think I would recommend that you watch. One is Inquiring Minds reviewed the Leonardo Momento Zero Alumina. It's that aluminum pen that Leonardo's come up with that I was, tempted to dive into because it is it's the first time I think that we see a metal pen from Leonardo, if I'm not mistaken. And it's an interesting review. I mean, he likes the pen, but at the end, there is a problem with the pen, and you'll see what it is, and I don't want to spoil it, but I think it's worthwhile. If you're considering buying that pen, take a look at that video. He's got some, as usual, some very informative opinions on it. So there you go. Next thing, as you know, I've kind of branched out a little bit and looking at rollerball pens, and I found that this review from Mick L, the Offstage Me, reviews Uniball Zento refills. He's got them all. He reviews them all, and he goes through them all and which ones are, dark, light, mediums, fine, broads, etc., or 0.38s, 5s, or 0.7. Excellent review, and I think I'm starting to make an opinion on, or have an opinion on which rollerball refills are the best. And in fact, let me just show you once again this Zento. This is the brand new Uniball Zendo signature that nobody has because you can't find these things. I found them on I found it on eBay, but paid a premium for it. They're retailing at Jet Pens for $27, $28, but they're out of stock. And I think I paid $60 for it on eBay, and they're going for like crazy. You can find some at $200. But here's the way it writes. First of all, it's a beautiful pen. It comes in this color at 0.38 or in dark black, which I think is the 0.5. This is the Zento signature. And I'm starting to run out of ink. I just realized, wow, that's bad timing. But we can replace it. Here we go. Yeah, it's out of ink. It's beautiful. Just an absolutely great inks. Now, where is it? I had them all here. Here they are. So we'll fill in this one here. Yeah, as you can see, I've already finished 2. I don't think there's any way to re-ink those things, which is a pity. But here we go. So this is the Vincenzo, and it's the brand new signature by Uniball. Uniball. See, I can't write with them. You know, it's just too smooth, too quick for me. I need to have more surface tension. You kind of forget to write with a normal writing instrument. But well recommended, very nice pen. Good looking too. Nice snap on, and it's the brand new one that's just come out. So take a look at that review. I think you'll enjoy that. That's it for the week, folks. That's it for this recap. I hope you enjoyed it. Try to introduce some new stuff. Take a look at my videos. You have last week, you have the C80 that was reviewed. You'll have my Pen BBS 556 coming up, and several others that are in the pipeline, and I put them all the thumbnails up so you can take a look at if you're curious as what's coming up on my channel. And you know what? Enjoy your pens, and stay tuned. We might have more surprises from the Chinese pen market, and maybe from elsewhere. Take care. Bye now.